Hello Channel NITT viewers, I am DS and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. In this episode, we will continue to talk about serial killers and psychopaths. In particular, we will try to deduce the MBTI type of serial killers and psychopaths. So let's get started. Okay, let's do some research over here. Suppose we type MBTI. I'm going to get MBTI of serial killers. This is what we want to know. Let's enter. Let's just click into the first one to see. Let's go back. I've actually read a few of these articles on this page while doing research for this video. I personally cannot ascertain the credibility of all these authors in the way they profile the MBTI type of known serial killers. In fact, some of them, when they try to profile the serial killers, they seem to be merely attaching the alphabets based on what they feel about this serial killer to the particular serial killer. So it might not be accurate because, as I was saying again and again, MBTI is based on cognitive stacks, not on the individual alphabets. But of course, you need to know the individual alphabets before you can even understand the cognitive stacks. So as you can see, my research on the internet is not very productive. Although in the internet, you can find many known serial killers having their MBTI labeled and tagged to them, I am not too sure whether these labels and tags are official. So therefore, in my subsequent discussion of today's topic, I will disregard this research. So before I give you my personal evaluation of the MBTI type of serial killers and psychopaths, I need to mention two things. First, because serial killers are very uncommon, I am going to lump serial killers and psychopaths together. But in my previous episode, I have already mentioned that serial killers and psychopaths are not the same. So it is not a necessary condition for a serial killer to be a psychopath, but they have a lot in common. So the second thing to note is that the MBTI is not designed to measure psychopathy or psychopathic tendencies. Every MBTI type, especially the immature ones, are all capable of becoming a serial killer or a psychopath. It's just how the opportunities present to them to make them that way. Of course, enough said, we can still rank the MBTI types in terms of the probability that each will end up as a psychopath or serial killer. And what we're going to do is that we are going to consider the cognitive stacks and eliminate those that are unlikely to be serial killers or psychopaths first. Here you can see a list of 8 cognitive stacks. Personally, I will first eliminate the FE as a likely candidate for becoming a psychopath or serial killer. So FE users are very good at looking at the needs of others, they really care for others, they also want to make sure that the welfare of others are taken care of. So I would say that this group of people are very unlikely to be psychopaths and serial killers. I would also rule out SI in the cognitive stacks as a potential candidate for becoming a psychopath because the SI is more conservative and rule-abiding. So therefore, out of the 16 MBTI types, I would rank the FE and SI users, which are ISFJ and ESFJ, right at the bottom. So I would rank the other FE and SI user types together at the bottom. Do not worry too much about the exact ranking. So as you can see, 6 of the J types are already at the bottom. The next cognitive stack that I intend to strike off would be TE, because the TE user is one that is very future oriented. They think of consequences, so they are unlikely to disobey the law as well, unless they are very sure they will not get caught. So it is possible that the ENTJ and the INTJ, being TE users, may engage in activities such as polluting a cup of tea, not with poison, okay, with saliva, or spit, maybe urine.
It's a bit nutty.
So it is possible that the ENTJ and the INTJ may have psychopathic tendencies. They may only engage in behaviors that are antisocial only when they know that they will not get caught or discovered. Nonetheless, I will see these two types as not very harmful to society. So there might be one INTJ or ENTJ that might do a lot of destruction to the world. That's possible. But remember, this is one ENTJ or one INTJ in 10,000 odd INTJ and ENTJ profiles. So it's still a very rare incident. The probability is low. So this leaves all the P types in the top 8 of my personal ranking. Among the 8 P types, I believe that the NE and FI users tend to be the least likely to be psychopathic. They might be emotional, they might throw tantrums, but generally these people don't seem to be much capable of harm. As I am comparing between the remaining cognitive stacks, I actually pay quite a lot of attention to FI and TI. TI users tend to think of the now, the present, and they have a higher likelihood to be impulsive and to act at the moment. So personally, I believe that TI users are more likely to be psychopaths or serial killers than the FI users, because the TI users might derive more pleasure seeing others being hurt. But of course, I'm not saying that all TI users are like that. I am just talking about the relative likelihood. So after having completed the ranking of the 16 MBTI types, I see that ISTP and ESTP are right at the top because they also have SE as a cognitive function, either in the dominant or auxiliary position. Now, SE is the ability to execute right on the spot. So ISTPs and ESTPs are very likely to be very impulsive and act on the moment or at the spur of the moment. So one very good example would be Donald Trump. No matter how I see him, he is profiled as an ESTP. Many people actually mistype Donald Trump as an ENTJ because ENTJ has been known to be the commander, the bossy type. So it's actually very convenient for anyone to label a boss, a bossy person, a mean person to be an ENTJ. However, this really is a very shallow way at looking at MBTI types and at the ENTJ. So a lot of times, Donald Trump has been known to act on his own accord without having any consent from the Congress. He makes his own comments that are irresponsible. ENTJs don't do that. That is an SE trait and a TI trait combined. So no matter how I see it, Donald Trump is an ESTP. And as you can see, he's a bit psychopathic, right? Anyway, this list is just for fun only. It does not mean that an ISTP or an ESTP will surely be psychopathic or will become a serial killer, but it is more likely that you will see an impulsive ISTP or an ESTP compared to the rest of the other MBTI types. And impulsive people might make rash decisions that might harm himself or harm others. And they become more dangerous if they are accorded leadership positions. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing. We are a channel aimed at producing videos that you cannot find anywhere else. Many of our videos are actually laced with black humor. So if you like that, check out our other videos and you can find them. So I'm going to sign off now and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye!